Hello, I'm Rachel from Rach Elizabeth Artist. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to just jump right into it. I want to address the one thing that nobody seems to mention when it comes to pricing your artwork. If you're an artist or creative and struggle to decide how to price your art, when to increase your prices, not feeling confident about your prices, or worrying that nobody will buy from you, then this video is for you. I'm going to share with you how I started out pricing my work and how I went from charging £30 back in the UK, which is about $50, to $400 by shifting my mindset around pricing. Okay, so there are endless ways you can go about figuring out where to start when it comes to pricing your work. And there are a lot of factors to take into account, such as what your goals are, how much you want to make or need to make to pay the bills, how many pieces you can realistically create per week or per month. These are certainly important things to consider. And some of the ways that you can get an idea of how to price your work are, for example, by hour. This is a tricky one because, especially for me, because I don't always know how long a piece is going to take me. I actually feel it makes it a lot easier for myself and my customer if I just charge by size. So, I mean, that works for me. Doesn't mean that that's the way that you should do it. It's just personal preference. You can price it by square inch or, whatever kind of sizes you use. You can price it based on the cost of the materials and then factor in an hourly rate for your time. You can look at what other artists of a similar skill level charge for their work. So, there's a lot of different ways that you could go about it. You could also do market research and ask those close to you or that have already bought from you what they believe is a reasonable price for your work, or even asking other artists, because other artists understand the time and the energy and the cost of resources that go into creating different products. And likely, if they're close to you or have already bought from you or are artists, they're going to value your work and know how much time goes into it. So you're more likely to get an honest answer. Now, don't get me wrong, these are all great starting points, and I am not trying to devalue any of these in any way. However, the one thing that doesn't seem to get mentioned is your mindset. In other words, like how you feel about the price you are charging. If there is one thing that I have learned I've learned a lot, but the biggest thing that I've learned over my 6 years of building and running a creative business, your mindset can either be your biggest asset or your biggest downfall. So this is why I want to talk about your mindset around pricing. So if someone told me I would be charging $400 for a piece of my work when I first started, and I mean, for some people this might still seem low, but this is where, I'm happy with what I've built so far. I honestly just could not have seen that happening. It was so far from my current starting point. I just wouldn't have believed it. I would have thought there's no way that people would buy my art for $400. And the fact is, I now actually have booked up commissions way more than I did when my art was like $50 or $100, $150. At the time, $50 felt like a fair price for me. The way I got from 50 to 400 has nothing to do with any of the above pricing strategies that I already mentioned, like pricing by hour or pricing by size or looking at what other artists charge. When it comes to building a business from your art, like I said, your mindset will be your biggest asset. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you need to change the way that you think. I want to share something that is actually practical, because changing the way you think is a lot easier said than done. So let's say you do some research or you figure out that you should be charging, $200 for a piece of art based on maybe what others in your niche or what others at your skill level are charging. Okay, amazing. But What if you feel totally uncomfortable about that price? Maybe it feels so high for you and you just don't feel like you could charge someone that amount, or that somebody's going to say, oh no, like, or somebody's going to tell you it's too expensive, and then you feel like, oh, I knew it was too expensive. If you feel like that, how likely are you to put your work out there? How will you feel every time someone inquires about your pricing? Likely, you either won't put yourself out there because you feel so detached from that pricing that every time somebody asks you about your pricing, you're going to feel really uncomfortable and really anxious about it. It's going to become an obstacle for you. And like I said, all it will take is one person to tell you that your price is too high to reinforce your belief, and then your self-esteem and confidence is just totally shot. So if this feels relatable for you, this is exactly what I went through. I actually worked with an art coach for a month back when I was in the UK and kind of just starting out. He was a guy in the US that I paid to help me figure things out. I think he was pretty new to the art world and, well, to the coaching side of things too. I think I was one of his first clients. I only worked with him for a month as I was saving to move to Canada. He told me to significantly increase my prices. I did. I got a couple of commissions. However, when I stopped working with him, I dropped them back down again for the very reason that I just explained above. They felt totally out of alignment with me. I felt guilty charging someone that much, which is ironically a lot less than I charge now. But again, it just felt so far outside of my comfort zone. So I'm going to share with you how I got past that. And as I said, it is all about your mindset and slowly pushing the boundaries of your comfort zone. Now, I'm not saying that you should undervalue your work. Like, you absolutely should not. However, when I first started, I was 100% undervaluing my art. But if I had have set a price that was way higher than that $50, for example, I wouldn't have put myself out there. So you got to ask yourself, like, what's the point in trying to put out a really expensive price that feels really expensive for you if you're not going to share your artwork? It's meaningless. So here's what I did and what I would suggest you do. So pick a price that feels comfortable for you to be charging. You can use any of the above strategies to figure out a ballpark number and go from there. But then add to that number just a small amount. Maybe it's 10%, maybe it's $25, maybe it's $30, until it pushes you past that comfort zone slightly, to the point where it isn't a huge increase, so it won't hold you back, or it's not a huge number, but it also feels a little bit scary. This is where the growth comes from. So once you start to get some orders, you will start to become more comfortable with that pricing. That is when you want to increase it again. Of course, like, you still need to be working and developing your skills as an artist too. You can't increase your price and then not really practice your work. Like, you have to develop as an artist as well. And you can set a goal or a limit after which you increase your prices again. So let's say it's 3 months of booked up orders, which is kind of roughly what I do, or 10 commissions or sales. It can be any metric you like, but set a metric for yourself. And every time you hit that metric, increase your prices slightly. This is exactly what I did. And now I am more than comfortable with what I charge. My commissions are booked up months in advance, and I am so much more confident with my pricing. I continue to increase every few months as I further develop as an artist. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. I just wanted to make this video because I feel like this side of it isn't really talked about a lot. And it was a huge factor for me when pricing my work. So yeah, thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next video.